Hello, and welcome to an episode of More Than the Score. This is episode something teen, probably. So I I'm not sure if the last episode uploaded. We might have a lost episode floating around out there. Maybe Brian will get a hold of it. And speaking of Brian, he died in a horrible, tragic accident. He did doing what he loved though, playing hockey and bar trivia at the same time with a just having good old Brian fun. But no, seriously, Brian has left the Middle of Nowhere Gaming team, so he isn't going to be on the podcast anymore, sadly. I don't know, maybe he'll appear later. But who knows? Who knows what could happen? This is a crazy Wild Wild West podcast, as everyone knows.
The Wild Wild West.
And that who you are hearing is Esteban Cuevas, our good friend who you've heard him before on our Not a Hero review that he did. It's not ours, it's his. It was our discussion.
I can share it.
He's sharing it with us, just like he's sharing his time with us. It's 2 a.m. right now. Esteban has a crazy sleep schedule going on.
Yeah, yeah. The
So if
life of a
you,
writer.
yeah. So if I sound like I'm going crazy more than usual, it's because of that. But anyways, this is More Than Score. We're going to talk about Esteban's review of Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition. Is that the official name for it?
Yep, yep.
And that'll be exciting. So you keep listening for that because that'll be on the show because that's what the show's about. But before that, we're going to talk about our segment known as Animal Crossing. Esteban, what have you been playing this past week?
What I've been playing for the past week and ever since E3 is I've been playing any games made by Naughty Dog to kind of get myself excited for
Mm-hmm.
Uncharted 4, and it's been with mixed results.
Hmm. What
Um,
games have you been playing?
well,
I'm assuming this is all just Crash Bandicoot, just every Crash game.
actually, no, I've been playing Crash Bandicoot. I've
Mhm.
played 1 through 3. I've played Jack and Daxter 1 through 3, and I've played Uncharted 1 through 3. And now, not
Mm.
all of that's quite within the last week or so, but I've been playing all of them almost at the same time, so I've just been kind of mixing in between.
Right, right.
Um, some of those games do not hold up at all,
Yeah.
and some of them, uh, I actually kind of hate now.
Which games do you hate now?
Honestly, the Uncharted series, I don't like it at all.
Huh.
I don't like it at all. I think it's a nearly broken series. There's a lot of things about that game that don't make any sense to me. Maybe it's because there's like this style of game that people who maybe really like Call of Duty campaigns like, where
Mhm.
you're completely being led through, and unless you do something a certain way and just the right way, it doesn't work.
Right.
Like, so you just have to know like your choreographed timing.
Yeah, the right formula that they want you to do.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Although it's never bothered me that much in Call of Duty, but
Hmm.
I don't
Yeah,
know, something about that series.
I've never. I think I've went back and replayed 3, and that's really the only Uncharted game I've replayed.
Hmm.
And that's interesting to I don't know. I've never thought about going back to that series. Maybe it would change my opinion.
Yeah.
To
For me, I've actually never played through the Uncharted series except for one.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, well, okay, it's a perfect time. I have them sitting there on my shelf.
Mhm.
I should play them, and yeah, I ended up hating the series. Um, Also, and this is weird because I had the same problem with Not a Hero. The dodge button and the cover button on the same button,
Yeah, yeah.
that is not smart. Stop doing that. Don't ever do that. Don't map the one button that makes you more mobile to another button, another command that makes you less mobile.
Yeah, and that was a similar thing where this will be going from a similarity to a kind of a stretch where that reminds me of Gears of War where it has the sprint
Yeah.
button and like the goading to cover. So where you're doing like your roadie run and then just like
Hmm.
wall bouncing, and then that just always like messed me up in multiplayer. And then it also reminds me that, not so much. The Uncharted reminds me of Assassin's Creed, where you're just kind of sticking to walls. You're not making moves that you're
Yeah,
wanting to make, and that's really, it's just not fun.
yeah,
Like it's I love the Uncharted games, but there are things like that that's just kind of like stop, just
yeah.
stop doing that.
I think they're like the Assassin's Creed games are okay, but I
Mhm.
also see those and I go, this is the mechanics are an inferior version of the Prince of Persia games, and I loved
Right.
those games, and I wish those would come back.
Instead of Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, in a way,
Just
or
take
you
a
could
break.
trade off
Just take a
something.
break 1 year.
Yeah,
Assassin's Creed.
yeah, exactly. Um, but then after the Jack series and 2 and 3 are very confused games.
hmm
I
I
don't.
I never played. I remember as a dumb kid playing, renting the second Jack from Blockbuster,
Mhm.
and not getting past like the early stages of the game. So I never returned to that. Never played Jack 3. I played the first Jack and Daxter and I loved it, but never bothered with the second or third.
That's actually almost exactly what happened to me. I played the first one, got bored. Played
hmm
the second one, got bored, and I had rented that one, and then never bothered with the third
With
one.
the 3rd.
Yeah.
hmm
Um, but yeah, I tried those. I don't think 2 and 3 are that bad. It's just those games don't know what they want them to be.
Yeah.
They don't know what they are. They're an open world, but they're also a platformer, and there's also driving mechanics, but none of the driving mechanics are typically that good. And there's nothing to do in the city. It's just kind of there to be world building, and it's nothing terrible. It's just it's a confused game. That's how I would describe it.
Mhm.
I went through the first one though, and I enjoyed that one.
Right. Yeah,
And
the
then
first one, it knew what it wanted to be a lot
yeah,
more than the next two.
yeah, it wanted to be a 3D platformer where its gimmick was all the levels were connected, so there was no loading or anything.
hmm
Yeah, and it's fun. It's nothing spectacular in my opinion, but it's fun.
Yeah.
Like it's another 3D platformer, but it's a fun one. So
And then, what'd you think of replaying the Crash Bandicoot games?
one is rough.
Yeah, one's really rough.
One is very rough. Two is amazing.
Okay, good to hear.
Three is very, very good. Although I feel like it has a bit too many gimmicks,
hmm
but it's still fun. And Crash Team Racing is still one of the best
Yes,
kart racers
yes, thank you.
outside of Mario Kart.
Yes. I Me and my best friend, we like, to this day we still just have nights where we'll just play Crash Team Racing
Nice.
till like around this time at night.
My
um
friends won't do that.
but yeah, I grew up, uh my first console was a PlayStation, and so I grew up on Crash Bandicoot. And I remember going back to the original Crash Bandicoot
Mhm.
just a few years ago and just hating it and just being like, well, was it really like this, just bad and like obtuse and
Yeah,
just
yeah.
yeah.
Like you can't save after you beat a level
Mhm.
or any kind of like checkpoint even. It's got to be
Yeah.
after you complete a bonus round or you've collected a gem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that just makes things more difficult for really no reason.
hmm
Um, that game is very hard.
it
Um,
really is.
yeah. Um, but yeah, the rest of the Crash series, at least the ones made by Naughty Dog, I skipped Crash Bash because it's not by them.
hmm
I didn't play the other Jack and Daxter games on like the PSP or anything like that because
hmm
again, not Naughty Dog.
Yeah. And then this past week or month or whatever, I've been, let's see,
Yeah, what have you
I've
been
been
playing?
I've been playing a lot of Arkham Knight. I got like
Mm-hmm.
super addicted to that and like super into that. We're gonna have a spoiler cast that I'll
Mm-hmm.
be on. I think by the time this episode is up, you'll be able to hear that too. So keep an eye out for that. That game is really good. I like it a lot. Some
I
people have some
was
problems. I didn't play it on PC.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't have the new consoles yet, so I was like, I'll just pick
Oh,
it up on PC. But I didn't pick it up at launch
yeah.
yet, and I'm glad I didn't.
Yeah, and if you're wondering why we don't have an episode for Arkham Knights, because Sean didn't review it. I'm about to put Sean on blast right now. This is 2 months in a row where Sean has picked arguably the biggest AAA game of the month, and not reviewed it. He had Splatoon earlier, and just there was no review, and now Arkham Knight, no review. So Sean, what are you doing, man? I thought about just writing a review and just not saying anything to anyone and just uploading it into our like for edit chat
Yeah.
and just see if someone would take it. Yeah. But yeah, I've been playing a lot of that. And then uh I know I've played something else. That can't be it, but I don't remember anything else just
Mm,
because I've turned into Batman. I am the Batman.
yeah. I
Yeah.
think you've always been the Batman.
I've always been the Batman. I am, according to uh, Mike Bertrand, Batman's son. So there's that. But yeah, I guess that. So yeah, like I said, keep an eye out for that. But now let's talk about Devil May Cry. So Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition.
Oh my God.
Um, yeah, Capcom
Oh,
needs to just keep putting out more special editions. That'll keep them in business.
yeah.
So let's start out.
It's not a terrible idea. I mean,
It,
I played the Resident Evil HD remaster
mhm.
that came out earlier this year. That was good.
Yeah, that got a. I think that sold over 1 million, and a lot of people really got into that. And I do have a bit of a conspiracy theory on the
Oh,
Devil May Cry existence. We'll get into that later.
okay.
But so what's new in the special edition in this port years later, like this PC version port? Because that's you mentioned in your review, it took elements from the PC port and then added
Mhm.
what all did it add in it?
Okay. Well, there are some. The PC stuff is new for the console stuff, but
Mhm.
since I had played the PC port version of actually both of them, the original and the special edition, so it's just like the same for me. But aside from that, which was a new mode, like a survival mode, um, a new turbo mode that just makes the game play faster, new costumes, that's new, and a new difficulty, which has a whole bunch of enemies on screen at once. Aside from those, which were already on the PC,
Mhm.
there's new playable characters. Specifically, there's new campaigns
Okay.
For Virgil, and then another one for both Lady and Trish. Those are two characters from the Devil May Cry series.
Right. And I'm a big fan of Devil May Cry series, but I
Okay.
remember 4 was the game which you mentioned in your review where I didn't finish it because after a while it just it's not fun anymore. It just gets
It
boring.
repeated.
Yeah. It it was the same thing. And
Yeah,
so but Lady and Trish weren't, or was Trish in Devil May Cry 4?
she was in Devil May Cry 4.
But
Um,
Lady wasn't.
Lady, I don't think she was.
Yeah.
I think she was in a cutscene, maybe, but
Hmm.
if not, then no.
And then you could play as Virgil in the original, but it didn't have his own campaign.
No, no, you couldn't
You
play
couldn't
as
play
him
as
in the
him.
original
Oh,
either.
okay.
There was you could play as him in Devil May Cry 3 Special Edition, but
Right,
not in
that's
4.
what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So so it's not a new thing. We'll go right into that into Virgil because that's for Devil May Cry fans. He's an awesome character, Dante's brother, and so we've played as him before. So it's not necessarily a new thing. Is it different from playing as him in any other games?
Yes, to an extent because he has some things inspired from his character in DMC Devil May Cry. He doesn't
Oh,
have like exact moves ripped out, but he does have some elements that were in that game. Specifically, if you got the DLC for that game,
right.
Virgil's Downfall.
Right. And then how do Lady and Trish play? Are they
Uh,
big differences or are they what you would expect?
Trish is kind of what you expect. She wields the huge blades of Sparta. That's kind of like a huge sword slash a scythe.
Mhm.
Um, she has basic pistols. She also has hand-to-hand combat. Um, she's not bad, but she's another typical melee combat character. But she does feel unique enough,
Mhm.
and she plays good. Lady is probably the most unique out of all of them because she's the only one who doesn't focus on melee combat. She focuses on guns,
Yeah.
and She has pistol, she has the shotgun, and she has a huge rocket launcher, which you will use a lot to blow enemies away. That's actually one thing about this game is the enemies and the way they're set up and everything don't really take into consideration the new characters' um, moves.
Right. So it's kind of breaks the game.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, almost all of the new characters break the game in some way. There's also a few of them where they're also harder, but mostly if you're playing as Leia, you just back up before the enemies can hit you, charge up your rocket launcher, and blow everyone to hell, and then you move on, and then and you move on with your triple S ranking.
Of course. And then with the rest of the game, how does it hold up compared to when it originally released?
Um, Oddly enough, I think that the normal game holds up a little bit better than I remember because I remember when I first played the game, I thought, man, this really bugs me. The speed of the combat,
Mhm.
um, the fact that you have to repeat the game essentially, and then the various things about it that's padded. But when you play this game, especially when you put on turbo mode, everyone put on turbo mode because it moves quicker, it just feels better, and they tweak the amount of orbs and proud soul that you get, which are used to buy items and moves, so that you earn stuff a bit quicker, which helps the pace, you know, be a little more rewarding. So it actually plays a little bit better to my knowledge, but there's something else that completely ruins that.
And what is that?
The game is padded as hell, and the new characters only make it worse. The the combat, and that's the weird thing about this. The combat is still really good. If you like the
Right.
Devil May Cry stuff, and especially because this does feel like a evolution from past games. But in one campaign, you basically have to go through the game twice. Now, the other characters have their own campaigns, and for no reason whatsoever, they're exactly the same as the normal campaign.
Hmm.
Exactly the same. It doesn't make any story sense. You have Trish fighting Dante for no reason.
She's like, hey, I gotta save Nero's girlfriend, but he doesn't exist. I'm here.
Yeah. That's actually even more true for Virtual because technically the way they set him up is that it happens before the events of Devil May Cry 4, the actual game proper. But you still go through the same bosses, you go through
Huh.
the same people. Dante is still there for some reason. It doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
They literally they just stuck the new characters into the same campaign. They made opening and ending cutscenes and called it a day.
Huh. Yeah, I I was when this game was sort of announced and like you talk about the new features and reading about those and hearing
Mhm.
about them from you, it makes me as a Devil May Cry fan want to play it, and then I hear that and then I don't want to play.
Well, here's what I said. Here's what I said in the review. If you loved Devil May Cry 4, which
Mhm.
you didn't go through it, so
Yeah.
my guess is you don't.
No.
But if you love Devil May Cry 4, this essentially gives you more to do with
Okay.
that campaign. So if you loved it, then here's some more to do with it, and it makes it a little different for you because now you have new characters to go through all this for. If not, then this is just padding.
Right.
It's the
Just
same
a
thing over and over
standard
again.
special edition.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but let's go ahead and talk about my theory. Now, if you recall earlier in the year, we've also already received the rebooted Devil May Cry, DMC Devil May Cry, that special edition.
Hmm.
Um, and I think I've heard this from others too. Like this, I've had this thought, but others have had this thought. So it's sort of like a little building thing, but it's not a huge popular theory. But Capcom is gearing up for a new Devil May Cry game,
Hmm.
but they need to know if they should stick with the rebooted universe or the old universe. What do you think about that?
Mm. Well, I'd be surprised if they're using this as a barter for the old series. I would say they'd do something.
Yeah, this is yeah, I don't think 4 should be what's representative of
Yeah,
the original Devil May Cry series
I would suspect it'd be either the first game or the third game.
or the third, yeah.
Um, my guess is my only problem with that is the reboot did not sell well because everyone didn't like that Dante had a different
Right.
hair color. So my guess is that they already made up their minds that they're not going to continue with the reboot,
Hmm.
which is sad because I actually thought that game was amazing.
Yeah, I did too, and that it didn't sell great, but I don't remember it selling poorly. I remember it still being, you know, like at least 1 or 2 million units for that game.
Last time I checked, it sold 1 million, but that was after like 3 months or something like that. So it
Three
took a while.
months from the game coming out, or
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay,
The original game coming out. I don't know. Maybe it's gone up since then, and maybe
yeah,
the
and
special
the
edition.
special edition, yeah, because that's particularly the thing with sort of this idea is them gauging the interest from these two special editions.
Yeah.
If you're really going to have like the most hardcore fans
Hmm.
represented in in buying the special editions. And
Right.
also the reboot was, I mean, some people disliked it in
Hmm.
terms of critics, but I think it was pretty well received.
That was the thing. Most critics thought it was a pretty good game.
Yeah,
I think it was highly regarded. But the Devil May Cry fans
yeah,
were like,
hated it.
"This is not Dante.
Hmm.
We don't want this. Why?"
Hmm.
And then completely ignored that it was great.
And and this is getting into spoilery territory for the rebooted DMC. Did you play that? I assume you did since you.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, I reviewed that for a previous site that I worked for too. So
Okay, but yeah, spoilers. Skip ahead if you really care that much. This is not like spoilers, but the way that they end like that game, the universe is basically, the universe of the original Devil May Cry series. So it's not like they're like the fans would still be like hating it, like he has white hair now, you're
mhm,
fine. The universe isn't like a modern day like worlds where there's uh Fox News and crazy demons controlling the media and soft drinks and all
yeah.
that stuff that people hated. So yeah, I
Which I find a little sad, just because I liked that stuff. I thought it was
yeah, I
really
did too.
clever. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I'm like, oh, so the if there were to be a sequel, it would feel like a sequel because things have changed. Okay,
Mhm.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah. And just lost my train of thought.
No, sorry.
It is late at night.
Um,
um Go ahead.
I was just gonna try to say, well, I mean, as for the theory, um, I mean, it's possible. I don't know how well these are selling. I wonder if one is
Yeah.
being favored over the other because one is $25. The other one, I think, is a
Mhm.
$40 release. I'm not sure.
I remember seeing when I'm not sure how Devil May Cry 4 Special Edition is doing, but I remember seeing when DMC its special edition came out. All these special editions, Jesus.
Yeah,
When it, but I'm pretty sure it charted in like PlayStation's digital downloads. That's still like not like NPD charting.
sure.
It could have. I'm not
It's
100%,
still worth something.
but it's still worth something. So it sold more than, just like being a forgettable game.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe there's a competition, maybe there isn't. But yeah, you might have kind of talked about this, but which would you rather see going forward?
Um, Probably the reboot, just because I've played almost all of the Devil May Cry games. I skipped
Mhm.
two
I
because
did
I
too.
heard
This
enough
is
bad.
weird.
I heard bad things about it, but
Mhm.
yeah, I skipped two. I can play it because I have the HD collection. So,
Right.
but so I'm fairly familiar with the series, and I was never a fan of the story in the original one.
Yeah, they have a like an interesting world and like
Mhm.
and there's interesting things there in terms of plot, but it's never a compelling story.
Yeah, if anything, I think it's just a series of bullet points, which for an action series is fine.
Mhm.
I don't know about the world being interesting so much as I think the art style being interesting. I
Right.
love the Gothic architecture, right?
Right.
Like I love that whole style. I think Virgil is cool, Trish is cool. All these characters they have are cool. I don't think there's necessarily any interesting story that they're all
Yeah.
part of, though. It's just
Yeah,
things that stick out, which is like an action game, so that's fine.
mhm.
But
It's almost like they're just all cool because of character design
hmm
and just the way that they act. They're just like, yeah, I'm a cool guy. My name's Virgil. I
hmm
slick my hair back except for this one part, and I'm the evil twin brother.
yeah, and I'm cool and calculated, cool, calm, and calculated,
Yeah.
and collected. Yeah,
Um,
it's fine, but to me, especially now, they seem kind of outdated. Like I kind of
mhm.
see Dante the way like a lot of people see Duke Nukem.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's kind of like, oh, I'm a cool guy. I'm gonna kick
Mhm.
some ass. And like,
And it's
it's
not
kind of old.
even and like they kind of played with that in the third Devil May Cry game when it's a reboot when he's younger. Not a
Mhm.
reboot.
It's just prequel.
It's a yeah, prequel when he's younger. And when they do it that way, it's hilarious. It's hilarious in the beginning when he's like snapping his fingers to the jukebox and he like hits a pool ball and it like crushes into a bunch of demons and then he like grabs a piece of pizza that falls from the air and he takes a bite and he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah,
And it's hilarious, but it's just getting to the point where like he's old in Devil May
yeah.
Cry 4 and he's just this old man still trying to do all the same fun stuff. But yeah,
They're still
really
doing stuff with pizza and
yeah. And he comes off as Duke Nukem now.
yeah. I mean, there's a place for that, but let's not pretend like we're taking this seriously.
Yeah.
So
Especially when you're yelling about the direction of the rebooted universe and how sacred the old one is when
yeah,
there was nothing special there in the
there's
first
nothing
place.
sacred there. I mean, if you
Yeah.
enjoy like the campiness of the original games, that's fine. Like I get that, and if you rather the series be more campy than serious, then okay. But it's not something sacred.
Right. Uh
But because of that, my vote would be the reboot because I
it
actually
would be the
prefer
reboot.
the new story and the new mechanics.
Yeah, I would go with that too. I really loved the game. This is just going to turn into a discussion about DMC Devil May Cry. But yeah, I don't think that game got enough credit. It was really great gameplay.
Mhm.
And you said you liked the story in that one?
Yeah, yeah, I did. I wasn't expecting much, but I'm like, oh, this is actually I can see effort here, and this is actually pretty
Yeah, yeah.
well done.
Yeah, I didn't think it was all that great, but I still there was a lot of things that kept me interested and kept me going. And
Mhm.
in an action game like with mechanics like that,
Yeah,
that's all you really need.
yeah.
Bayonetta doesn't have a crazy deep story that you just love to see or hear about,
No, no.
but it's
It gives
still
you enough like motivation to go forward, though.
right and progress through the game.
hmm But
Um,
yeah, Devil May Cry 4. It's not DMC Devil May Cry.
it's a
Um,
different game
it's a different
that
game.
we don't like as much.
Yeah.
Do you think that this game is because I'm still a bit foggy on the story details and stuff. I'm assuming it's not, but do you think this game would be good for, someone who they've never played a Devil May Cry game before and they've seen, oh, all these special editions, this one's cheap. I've heard of Devil May Cry before. I'll
Yeah.
grab this one.
Well, there are nods to to previous games in the series that you won't know unless you've played them. There are some characters that you just won't know unless you play the other ones. So it kind of makes it difficult to recommend for someone who's never gone into Devil May Cry. But at the same time, there's not too much from the last games that influence this game in terms of its main plot.
Hmm.
So it's probably not the best choice, but it's not a bad choice.
How about in terms of mechanics for a newcomer?
That's actually probably one of the better things because there's a poorly done but still informative tutorial in the beginning of the game that will explain everything to you, and then the combat is quick and responsive enough that someone who's never played the game will probably get into it more because of it. Because the older games do feel older now.
Right.
You know, especially Devil May Cry 1, you have a lot less to work with in that game. That game is a lot harder too.
Hmm.
So This one is like in terms of combat more inviting, so that would probably get him into the series more as well. But because of the padding and everything, I don't know.
Yeah,
That feeling won't last.
yeah, yeah. I would probably say again, going back to DMC, if you were going to choose between one of these special editions to be your first Devil May Cry game, I would go with DMC
Hmm.
just in terms of mechanics, and also just from what I remember, it would in terms of did I just say in terms of mechanics? I don't know. I might
Yeah.
be a broken record right now. I don't remember anything I'm saying. But mechanically, it's a lot more interesting,
Hmm.
like in a modern sense, where there's so much more to do. You have so many weapons and options.
Hmm.
And it's not that you don't in Devil May Cry 4, but it's still it's just not as I don't know intuitive and like right there for you, like the way that they use the R2 and L2 buttons to just constantly switch on the fly.
Yeah, yeah. It's not that intuitive. It's there are especially when you play as Dante, there is a lot you can do because he has different styles you can switch to,
Hmm.
and then he has different guns you can switch to, and he has different swords you can switch to.
Hmm.
He is fairly well diverse. Um, but yeah, it just doesn't compare to the reboot. If anyone were to jump in, I'd actually say get the HD collection, which you could probably pick up for like $20 now.
Right, right. Yeah, that's probably your best bet if you're not playing on the new consoles.
Yeah.
Then just pick up the HD collection because that's 1 through 3.
Yep.
Yeah, and
Yep.
then three is just a phenomenal game. One's very good too, and like Esteban and I said, we haven't played the second one because we hear that it's not good.
Yeah. I don't know. I've kind of like looked at the gameplay and I'm like, this doesn't look terrible, but
Hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I'll probably end up playing it one day.
This is going off topic, but not completely off topic. Do you think that anything like they would change any? What was bad about the second one? Do I that I remember hearing?
I'm not entirely sure. All I
Yeah,
know is that I don't know. I guess maybe like the levels were bad. I don't know
yeah.
because I've seen kind of how the combat works. I'm like, this looks pretty good. I mean,
Mhm.
Dante even has a dodge button.
Hmm.
That'd be nice.
Yeah. Maybe it's really good and people are just trying to get us to not play it.
I don't know. Again, I haven't played it, so I can't really
Yeah.
say. I don't know. Again, you know what? I will eventually play that game. Now I'm curious.
Yeah. Go
Once I'm
play
done with
that game
Naughty
and
Dog.
come back here.
Yeah,
You can write a review for it.
yeah, retro review, whatever. Yeah,
Yeah. Which reminds me, you also weren't we didn't talk about this, but you reviewed Sonic Boom,
I did.
Rise of Lyric.
Do you
We
want to
can
do?
talk about that too.
Okay, it'll
So
be a double
what
feature.
Yeah, so what inspired you to write that? Because I remember you, like you mentioned that in a chat or somewhere, and I was like, "What is he talking about? Did they like release another Sonic Boom?"
No,
So what
they
made you
are.
want to write it? Well, yeah, like and Sonic Boom, was it Fire and Ice?
Yeah,
It's a
Fire and Ice.
horrible
What you
name.
get when you combine fire with ice? The answer is condensation. But okay.
But yeah, what made you want to write that review?
Well, I'm a big Sonic fan.
Hmm.
That is my I guess gaming sin. But Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was the first game I ever played, and I've loved the character ever since.
Right.
Even when I was young and I was a Nintendo kid, I was like, oh, Nintendo's great, but it doesn't have Sonic. That's the one thing wrong with them.
Hmm.
So I play every Sonic game, as painful as sometimes it is, because I'm not delusional
Hmm.
here. There are some bad games in the series. Sonic 06 is a
Yeah,
travesty.
yeah. I played a lot of that one.
That is that made me stop playing Sonic games for 5 years before I
Hmm.
finally came back with Sonic Colors.
Hmm.
Um, so I decided to play through this game because I was like, okay, I had played it before, and I'm like, I'll pick it up when it's cheap. But then I got my GameFly account back, and I'm like, I'll just play through it by renting it.
Hmm.
So I rented it, played through it, and I did it all within about a night. And I decided to write it because I'm like, you know what? This is not the worst thing I've ever played. This is not that bad. This is not the travesty that a lot of people say that this game
Hmm.
is. This is nowhere nearly as bad as Sonic 06.
Now, have there been patches since then, or did you experience any of like the horrible problems where like Knuckles is just flying through the air, just going
Yeah,
through the earth? Did you
that's
experience any of those?
that's the thing. There has been one huge patch. It's a gig patch,
Uh,
and it fixes a lot of things, but the frame rate is still terrible. There's still a lot of problems with it, but there are noticeable improvements. Like they added a navigation arrow, which wasn't in the original game, so now you even know where you're going. And even that doesn't help sometimes, but it's
really?
a lot better.
Yeah. I've
Um,
only seen gameplay of this game. I've never played it. I remember because I'm not a huge Sonic fan. I want to be, but he lets me down so often.
yeah.
But when what was it, Sonic Lost World, when that was coming out,
Mhm.
there were mixed things about that, and that I was like, all right, like Sonic on Wii U, hopefully this will be good, and that was eh, it came out to mixed reception, and I was like, maybe I'll pick this up later, and
I played
then
that too. I have
you
it.
played that too, and
Yeah.
then the next century is Sonic Boom, and
hmm
it came along with this rebooted, I guess it's a rebooted Sonic universe.
They're saying it's a alternate universe. This
Oh,
is like a
okay.
spin-off
So
type of thing.
they'll do another Sonic Generations where the other Sonics will meet him and unite.
Yeah, perhaps. I mean, technically, there's a new mobile game that just came out, Sonic Runners,
Hmm.
and that's not a Sonic Boom character. That's the original Sonic. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I guess technically that works as they're
Yeah.
still making Sonic games in
There's
the original universe.
a Sonic multiverse now. Are Sonic comic books still a thing?
Yes, they are. They're still
Wow.
going. It's the same print from back in the day. It's still going.
Man, I remember this is we're getting really off topic now, but I read a fair amount of comics. I've never read Sonic comics,
hmm
but I used to be big into the website Comic Vine,
Oh, yeah.
and specifically their forums, and specifically the battle forums, where it's just a horrible people try to be civilized, and they do a good job compared to a lot of forums where they'll discuss who will win in a fight between this guy and this guy,
Oh, no.
and but Sonic and Shadow and the gang would have their fair share of bouts in there, and people would just be throwing out like, oh well, here's the Sonic scan that shows like this feat that's crazy, and I'm like, where is this coming from? Like, this isn't any of the games. These Sonic comic books are
The
just crazy.
the comic books are an entirely different universe from the games. A lot of people want the comic books to be implemented into the games. They never
Oh,
have
okay.
been, and at this point, I think that's good just because it's its own thing now, and it
Yeah.
gets crazy. There's different characters that are not even in the games.
Hmm.
There's different relationships. There's different everything. That is a beast all its own, and I haven't even been able to keep up with it. I just ended up sticking with the games.
Hmm. But yeah, back to Sonic Boom.
Yeah.
So this is so you decided to review it, and
Mhm.
you don't think that it's terrible. What were some of the good things that you found with the game?
I This will probably be controversial because a lot of people pointed it out as being bad, but I think the combat is actually good.
Okay.
It's button mashy.
Hmm.
It's not complicated at all, but it's not bad, and there's more to it than you think. You can't just mash the button over and over and then it'll be over with. You have to watch out for enemies; they'll come after you. This is one of the few games which I guess maybe there's a reason why games don't do this, but this is one of the few games where enemies will not wait for you to stop attacking another enemy to come after you. Like you ever notice that? Like you'll
Yeah,
be fighting
yeah.
someone's just like waiting there.
There's just
Are you done? Okay, I'm gonna come
specifically
after you.
with Batman, you just have like a mosh pit of people just around you, and they're like, okay, I'll wait till this guy's done with his move, and then I'll just jump right in there.
Yeah. They don't do that.
Hmm.
They'll come after you anyway. So like you'll be using like jumping attacks, and all the characters do have different types of attacks, and I think some are better than others,
Hmm.
like better thought out. But it's still fun to me. It was able to give me like that tactile feeling of feeling good when you beat up these robots and various creatures that you run into.
What all characters do they let you play as in the game?
Sonic, Amy, Knuckles, Tails.
Oh, okay. No, no, what, Vex or Shadow
Vex,
or yeah, the
Vex,
alligator.
Vector the alligator.
Vector the alligator.
Holy crap! Vex was a platformer from the early 2000s, which I mentioned, I think, in my review of it too.
All right.
So bring it all
Yeah,
around.
I remember because my Sonic, what would you call it, career
Sure.
consists of the most like the strangest Sonic games. Like I played the original Sonic, and that was fun. Then Adventure 2 Battle,
Hmm.
Sonic Heroes, Sonic '06, uh, Sonic Unleashed, the werewolf one.
Oof.
Yeah.
That
So
one doesn't even make any sense.
mhm.
Werehog, that word doesn't even make
No,
sense. If it was a werehog, then that would be a human being turning into
and
a hog of some
yeah,
kind, like a hedgehog or a
not
pig. Or
yeah, just a boar.
yeah, I don't know,
Yeah.
but yeah. Uh,
But yeah,
um,
so how who was your favorite to play as in the game?
Sonic,
Sonic.
Sonic.
And was it super how different was it? Because you said it was still like very button mashy, but how was it between character to character?
Well, Knuckles is the brawler. Like when he hits someone, he doesn't have that impressive of say combos, but he hits hard, so
Mhm.
it takes him a lot less time to defeat enemies. Amy has a hammer, which people would like if they kind of want to keep people away at a certain distance because it's got a wider range, but it also makes her a little unwieldy. So I actually didn't like her that much.
Mhm.
Tails is good if you're almost about to die because he's a projectile character and he could
Oh,
run away from the crowd and just shoot at them
mhm.
from afar. But I like Sonic because he has the most combo potential and he's the quickest.
Mhm.
So it makes him uh, like an actual the most fleshed out character because you can dodge things, you can like do a quick combo and then dodge someone before someone else is going to hit you or something.
Mhm.
His homing attack is his aerial attack,
Yeah.
so and that's in a combo too.
Oh, okay.
So
My favorite
yeah.
thing, moving on to another game on
Mhm.
Smash Brothers, is just whenever I'm getting like just beaten like in a series of one-on-ones with someone, I'll just switch to Sonic and just spam the homing attack because I know even though I probably won't win, I'm just going to annoy the hell out of them.
Sonic's my main in Smash
In
Brothers too.
Smash.
So
Hmm.
yeah.
But I was gonna ask, when he plays Knuckles, does he rap? Is that the music that's playing in the background?
No, no, they don't have any of that. It's the generic music that they have for the game. Um, no, and he's not like that at all because he's portrayed as an idiot in this game.
Oh,
No,
okay.
he's like, hey, move to the left. He's like, give me a second. Wait, okay, this way. He doesn't know his left from his right. I was holding in my hands for people who can't see me.
So instead of being, I don't know, was Knuckles racist? Was Knuckles
Um,
racist before?
no, I mean he was inspired. The reason why he has his dreadlocks
Okay.
is because his he was inspired by Jamaican culture,
Okay, yeah.
and he lived on a floating island. So like, oh, someone who's from an island, Jamaica, that's an island. I mean, if you want to call that racist, that's actually like, maybe you have a point, but
Yeah.
but
So he's moved from being that to just an idiot.
just an idiot. No,
Oh
he's just
well.
an idiot because he's like, well, he's a strong, which means he's
Yeah.
dumb,
Yeah, of course.
not the recluse that he was before, because he
Hmm.
was that's what his character was like before.
Yeah. The rapping rec the rapping recluse
Yeah,
echidna.
with probably social issues
Yeah.
and he's very naive.
Hmm.
So
So Devil May Cry 4.
Let Me Cry 4.
Uh Closing statements. How do you feel about this game?
If you like the game, the original game, you will like this. If you don't, or you've never played it, you better rent it first. Because to experience everything that game gives you, you are going to play through the game 3 times minimum. And since the campaign repeats itself, it's more like 6.
And closing statements for Sonic Boom.
It's not as bad as everyone said. Do not buy it at full price, though.
it's it's not horrible, but
It's not terrible.
you might like some parts of it.
Yeah. It's not bad. Here's the thing that I think that's wrong with it. It plays nothing like a Sonic game. It plays
Yeah,
nothing like a Sonic game at all.
I got that vibe from just watching gameplay of
Yeah.
it. You're
You
not
don't
really
go.
moving fast. You're
You
just
don't
kind
really
of
go fast. No.
mhm.
There's sections where you do, but they're very, very track oriented, and it's almost on
Oh
autopilot.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
They
but
just
once you
put
get
in
over that,
that they just put in that Sonic Endless Runner,
yeah.
copy and paste.
Yep. Okay, we're good here. That feels like Sonic. No, no, it's just it doesn't play like a Sonic game. But once you get over that, then you have a kind of mediocre but still decent action platformer.
All right. Well, Esteban, thank you for being on the show.
All right.
And listeners, thank you for listening to the show. Um, Sorry for all the craziness and missed weeks and lost episodes and Brian not being here. If you only listen for Brian, I don't blame you. He's a great he's just great. He's just tearing it up on the mic. You can follow him on Twitter at El Padre. So, Esteban, do you have a Twitter?
I do at Colorwind.
All right. I don't think I follow you. Do I follow you?
I don't know. Probably not.
I
That's okay.
will after that, and so will listeners. And I'm at underscore Mbatson. I almost forgot my Twitter name. Um, if this is the last episode of More Than the Score, don't blame me. Uh, or do blame me. Do whatever you want. But
You
we'll
can blame
try
me.
and
I'm sorry.
you can blame Esteban. He came on here, did a hostile takeover. He said you have to end this episode. You have to end this podcast right now with me on the last episode. But no, if you have any comments or whatever on what to do with the show next, feel free to tell us what to do. You can email the show at contact.mong@gmail.com. And just, if I should keep doing this solo, if I should look for a co-host, I'm down to do anything. Wink, wink.
Nudge,
Uh,
nudge.
Nudge, nudge too. Um, Also be sure to visit middleofnowheregaming.com. We have a whole bunch of news, reviews, all sorts of stuff like that. You can read Esteban's review there. It's great. I read it myself, except for parts of it because I had to get ready for the show.
That's okay.
And again, as always, thank you for listening. And Brian loves you.
Love the brine.